For most people, clowns are meant to bring laughter, joy, and fun. But behind the painted smiles and colorful costumes lurks something much darker, something disturbing, something real. These are not ghost stories, not urban legends, but true encounters with clowns that defy explanation and chill the soul. From a silent figure standing deep in a cornfield, to a birthday party that ended in terror, to a truck driver's nightmare in the middle of nowhere. These are 3 true clown horror stories that will make you fear what hides behind the mask. The Clown in the Cornfield. It was October 2016, the height of the creepy clown sighting craze that spread across America like wildfire. News outlets were flooded with reports. Clowns standing silently on street corners at night. Clowns chasing people through parks. Clowns showing up at the edges of schoolyards just to vanish when someone called the police. Most people thought it was all just viral pranks, teenagers trying to scare the public for laughs. But in a small town near Illinois, something much stranger happened, something that's still whispered about to this day. It all started with a dare. A group of 5 high school juniors, Ryan, Kyle, Amanda, Jesse, and Ben, decided to explore the old Miller farm on the outskirts of town. The cornfield there had been left to rot for years after the family sold the property. The stalks were overgrown, dry, and twisted like skeletal fingers against the sky. The farm itself had a bad reputation. Locals swore they'd seen strange shapes moving between the rows at dusk, shapes that looked like a man in a clown costume. Kyle had heard the stories and laughed them off. Probably some drunk redneck in makeup, he joked, shining his flashlight across the swaying corn. Or maybe a Halloween nut who never took his costume off. But Ryan wasn't so sure. As they crossed the broken fence and entered the field, an uneasy feeling settled in his stomach. It was too quiet. No wind, no insects, just the crunch of their feet on dry soil. The deeper they went, the darker it got. The moon barely reached through the tangled cornrows. Amanda kept looking over her shoulder. Ben chewed his lip nervously. Maybe this was a dumb idea, Amanda muttered. I heard some kid disappeared here last year. Kyle rolled his eyes, but didn't respond. That's when they heard it. A soft metallic clink, 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 like spurs or bells, coming from deeper in the field. Everyone froze. What the hell was that? Whispered Jesse. Nobody moved. Then Kyle laughed nervously. Probably a raccoon or something. But the sound grew louder, closer, deliberate, like slow, dragging footsteps. Suddenly, Ryan's flashlight flickered and died. Not funny, dude. Ryan snapped, smacking it, but the light was gone. Then Amanda gasped. Look, there, about 10 feet away, barely visible between the stalks, stood a figure, a man, dressed head to toe in a filthy, torn clown suit. His face was pale, paint cracked and peeling. His smile was wide, grotesque, yellowed teeth showing between cracked lips. In his gloved hand, he held a stained rubber mallet. None of the teens moved. No one spoke. The clown stared at them, his head tilting slowly like an animal sizing up prey. Then, he lifted the mallet and tapped it against the ground. That was enough. Kyle shouted, "Run!" and the group bolted in different directions, screaming as they pushed through the corn. Ryan ran hard, heart hammering in his chest, gasping for air. He could hear crashing behind him, the sound of the clown giving chase. But when Ryan glanced over his shoulder, nothing, no one there. He slowed, trying to catch his breath, and then he heard breathing right behind him. He turned, and the clown was there, inches from his face. Ryan screamed, but the clown lunged forward, grabbing him by the collar and slamming him to the ground. The mallet hovered above Ryan's head, but the clown didn't strike. Instead, he knelt low and whispered something in Ryan's ear. "Want to hear a joke? Your friends left you behind," Ryan thrashed, kicking and punching, but the clown held him down with terrifying strength. "I got another one." Ryan felt the world spin. The clown smeared grease paint across Ryan's face with gloved fingers, humming softly, a sick, tuneless clown song. Then, everything went black. When Ryan woke up, it was morning. The police and his friends were standing around him, shouting his name. He was lying at the base of an old scarecrow post, his lips split, clothes torn, clown makeup smeared on his cheek. "Ryan, what happened?" Amanda sobbed. Ryan couldn't speak. His mind reeled with the clown's rasping voice, the smell of grease paint, the whispered jokes in the dark. Police searched the field for hours. They found nothing, no footprints, no tire tracks, no signs of anyone else. But one farmer swore he saw something odd that morning when he passed by. "Big clown shoe prints," he said. deep in the dirt between the corn rows, big as frying pans, leading to nowhere. And every October since, someone claims they see a flash of dirty red and yellow between the corn, or hear soft, metallic clink, clink, clink sounds when no one else is there. They never found the clown, and Ryan never set foot in a cornfield again. The birthday party incident. It was a chilly spring afternoon in 2004 in Paramus, New Jersey. Sarah Miller was preparing for her son Josh's 6th birthday party. Balloons hung from the porch, streamers fluttered in the wind. The cake sat in the kitchen, a big, bright clown face made of frosting just the way Josh wanted. But the real star of the party was meant to be Mr. Jingles, the clown Sarah hired from a local classified ad in the newspaper. She called the number listed 2 weeks prior. A man with a low, raspy voice answered and confirmed the booking. His price was cheap, almost suspiciously cheap, but Sarah was busy and grateful to get anyone last minute. The day of the party came. Kids ran wild in the yard, laughing and chasing balloons. But as the hours passed, no clown. Sarah checked her phone. No messages, no missed calls. As she was about to give up, a strange van pulled up across the street. A man stepped out. He wore a faded clown's suit, red and blue with yellow buttons. Dirty, wrinkled, as if pulled from the back of an attic. His face paint was sloppy and cracked, smeared in odd streaks. One eye was painted much larger than the other, and his grin stretched unnaturally wide, like he'd tried to fix it with his fingers. Sarah frowned. "Mr. Jingles?" she asked nervously. The clown said nothing. He simply stared for a moment, then slowly nodded. Without a word, he walked into the yard. The kids froze when they saw him. Laughter died. Something about him felt wrong. His movements were jerky, slow, deliberate, like a puppet. His head twitched every few seconds. His white gloves were stained gray at the fingertips. He reached into his pocket and pulled out balloon tubes. Without speaking, he twisted them into strange, unsettling shapes. Not dogs, not swords, but weird, misshapen things, like tangled faces. Balloons with big, hollow eyes. One even looked like a screaming mouth with no body. The children watched silently, uneasy. "Hey, can you make a puppy?" one brave boy asked. The clown slowly shook his head. He made another balloon. This one looked like a figure hanging from a noose. One little girl burst into tears and ran to her mother. Sarah quickly walked over, whispering, "Excuse me, could you maybe do something a little more fun, like animals or heads?" The clown didn't speak. He only stared at her with wide, glassy eyes. His grin never moved. He smelled faintly of gasoline and mold. Suddenly, he reached into his coat and pulled out a long string of handkerchiefs, red, stained in dark splotches. He began pulling and pulling, yards of dirty cloth spilling onto the lawn. The kids backed away, uneasy. Sarah's nerves snapped. "Okay, that's enough. You need to leave." The clown's smile widened, cracking his painted lips to reveal yellow teeth underneath, but he said nothing. He gathered the balloons, the cloth, turned, and walked silently out of the yard, down the sidewalk, and into the woods across the street. No money, no goodbye. Shaken, Sarah called the agency to complain. "Hi, I booked a clown through you. Mr. Jingles?" He just left, and the receptionist interrupted her. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but we don't have any record of your booking. We haven't sent anyone to your address today. That number you called isn't ours. We've never used that ad." Sarah's blood went cold. Police came and took a statement. They traced the number, disconnected, no listing, no record of the man. Later that week, another mother across town reported seeing a clown standing motionless behind her backyard fence at dusk. Same cracked makeup, same filthy suit. He disappeared before police arrived. No one ever found out who he was. And to this day, Sarah swears she still hears the faint sound of balloons squeaking in the breeze coming from the woods behind her house. The midnight visitor, Miguel Vasquez, had been a long-haul truck driver for over 15 years. He'd seen weird things on the road, strange lights in the sky, hitchhikers who vanished in his mirrors, but nothing that ever truly rattled him. That changed in late 2018. Miguel was hauling freight across the desert highways of Arizona, trying to make it to Flagstaff before sunrise. But fatigue hit hard around 2 a.m., and he knew better than to push on without rest. He pulled into a deserted roadside rest stop. Miles of open desert in every direction, not a single car in sight. Only one flickering lamppost lit the lot, buzzing like an angry insect. Miguel parked, locked the doors, and climbed into the sleeper cab behind his seat. The wind howled outside, whistling through the cracks in the trailer walls. He set his alarm for 4 a.m., laid down, and quickly drifted into an uneasy sleep. until something woke him. A soft, deliberate tapping on the driver's side window. Miguel groggily sat up. His truck was high off the ground. No one could reach that window without a ladder, but there it was again. Heart pounding, he peeked through the curtain. Standing beside the truck was a man in full clown attire. The suit was old, dusty, stains with dark splotches. Faded reds and blues hung loose on a skinny frame. The clown's face wasn't just painted. It looked like his real skin was cracked white, peeling at the edges. His grin was unnatural, real, split too wide across his face, bearing yellow teeth in a permanent smile. And the worst part, the clown wasn't moving. He simply stood there, staring, gently tapping the glass with one gloved finger. Miguel's breath caught in his throat. He fumbled for his phone. No signal. Desert, dead zone. He leaned on the horn, blaring noises. But the clown didn't flinch. Then the tapping stopped. The clown slowly turned and sprinted away into the desert. Miguel locked the doors, gripped the wheel, debating whether to drive off immediately. But exhaustion crept back. Maybe it was some lunatic pulling a prank. Cautiously, he climbed back into the sleeper, keeping a crowbar nearby. An hour later, something much worse happened. But this time, the sound came from the passenger side window. Miguel bolted upright, his stomach dropping. The passenger window was 8 feet off the ground. He slid the curtain back, heart hammering. The clown was standing on top of his cargo trailer, peering down at him from the roof of the truck, his twisted grin even wider. His eyes locked on Miguel's. His head twitched unnaturally, jerking left, then right, like a puppet on strings. Miguel didn't hesitate. He jammed the key into the ignition and floored the gas. The truck roared to life, lurching forward, tires screeching against the asphalt. Miguel didn't look back. He didn't care if the clown fell or jumped. He just drove, fast. For miles, he kept glancing in the mirrors, expecting to see that horrible painted face behind him. But there was nothing, just the endless highway and the growing dawn. He didn't stop until he reached a truck stop in Flagstaff. Shaking, sweating, Miguel staggered out of the cab and called the police. They checked the truck. What they found made his stomach turn. Footprints, huge, clown shoe-shaped prints in the dust on top of the trailer, leading from the front to the back, as if someone had walked casually across his rig while he slept. The prints just ended at the back edge. No signs of anyone climbing down, no handprints, and Miguel knew there was no way a human could leap from a moving truck doing 70 miles per hour and survive. The police shrugged. No clues, no evidence, just crazy footprints and a terrified driver. Miguel refused to drive that desert route ever again. He still has nightmares of the painted face staring down from above, and every now and then, truckers at that same rest stop report strange things, sounds of tapping on their cab windows